Mr. LaHood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Hill, thank you for your service to our committee and to your staff, too. I know they've worked long hours.
That's very true, and they've done an excellent job.
They really have. I agree with that. And to Kristen and Steve, thank you for, if you're still here, for being here and your testimony and the people that you represent. Obviously, our hearts go out to all of you. Ms. Hill, if you take all the information that's in your report today and you analyze all that information, and then you look at the notion that there was a lot of information prior to 9/11, there were a lot of people in separate ways who saw it, and if you took that information and it was analyzed correctly, and the people responsible, whether it be the president, the vice president, the national security advisor, the CIA director, FBI director, if they had had all the information that you've collected and documented in your report, could 9/11 have been prevented? If they had seen the Phoenix memo, if they had seen the memo from Minnesota, if they had seen, really had all of these transits, that these documents that had come over the transit for any number of days, I mean, there has to be some idea about, because the criticism is that a lot of information came, but it wasn't shared. A lot of information was available, but wasn't shared, and the right people didn't know it. Well, if you take all that information, and if it had been shared with the highest elected people in our government and the highest appointed people in our government who have responsibility for counteracting these activities, could 9/11 have been prevented?
My own view is that I don't think anyone will ever be able to say, no one will ever really know whether 9/11 could have been prevented, because what we're talking about here is we not only would have to know what everyone would have done with the information they had in the intelligence community in terms of law enforcement and intelligence, you would also have to know how bin Laden and the hijackers would have reacted. We don't know that. I mean, it's all, we're hypothesizing, and there's been so much emphasis on, was there a smoking gun, was there a where, when, how, that sort of thing. We haven't found that. What we have found is a lot of information, a lot of things that weren't put together, and to me, maybe the biggest issue is, and we say it somewhat in the statement, not only that they weren't put together, but they weren't recognizing the importance, given everything else they should have known. For instance, in the summer of 2001, that's the summer that you had Midhar and Hazmi, you had Phoenix, you had Moussaoui, you had a high threat level. Well, you would think that with all of that, when you got Phoenix or you got Moussaoui, or it would have even been more. You would have been more aggressive with it, and that didn't happen. So there's a lot of unknowns. There's questions whether people would have, if you had caught one hijacker, would they have replaced him with someone else? There's questions about, could you, if you had gotten onto one of these cases, could you have surveilled and perhaps found what was going on? All of those are hypotheticals, and we're never going to know. But I think what we do clearly know is that the community could have done a lot better, and the intelligence side and the law enforcement side. But your answer is that
the community could have done a lot better, but knowing what we know about information that was there, and the dots were never connected in a lot of these different areas, you're not saying, though, that the community could have prevented this. They could have done a lot better, but they couldn't have prevented it.
No, I didn't say that. I never said they couldn't have.
I want you to be able to tell us pretty definitively here, for these people that are here, that if all the dots were collected and all the information was shared and all the right people would have known it, could we have prevented 9/11?
I would say,
I mean, that's the criticism all over this town and all over the country and all over the world, that we collected a lot of information, but it wasn't connected, that people didn't connect the dots, they didn't share information. And my question is, and I think it's a question on the minds of the American people, if it had been done correctly, could it have been prevented? And people that are promoting a blue ribbon committee, which I'm not, are saying that that's the way we get to the bottom line. But I want to know from you, who've been working at this now for several months, could it have been prevented?
if I
I
could,
can't say guarantee that it could have been prevented. There could have been some things done that there's possible that they might have been able to uncover some of this plot if they had had the information on individuals and they had followed them and they had surveilled them and the individuals had talked about something and they might have picked it up. I mean, all of those are ifs. It's one if after another. You're never going to know that. But if you don't get beyond the point that they could have done better, you know, that's what they have to do the next time, because if they don't, you're not going to have a shot at preventing this the next time. That's where the issue is, not so much preventing what's already happened, it's preventing what may happen in the future that we have to focus on. That's my own view. And I think to prevent what may happen in the future, there's a lot of things that have to be done to get us there.